Hey guys, it's Christy from the Paper Lion, back again with another Dollar Tree junk journal idea from some things that I got there. Today we're going to be using some fabric, some really pretty fabric that I found there to make these really cute, fun little fabric bookmarks. You can either use them for like traditional bookmarks, or you can use them for like belly bands. You can add all kinds of things to them. On mine, I did a little stuff to the back, but of course you can leave the back plain. But anyway, let's get into this tutorial and I'll show you some of the things that I am using. At the Dollar Tree, I don't know if you guys have it, but where I am, they sell these cute little packages of pre-cut fabric. And I chose these two patterns, or these two collections of patterns. They're more like farmhouse style, so I thought they were really cute. You got this pattern over here that's really versatile. You can do almost any color with that: purple, red, green, blue, you name it. Then I really love this one right here, this little farmhouse one with the cows and like the farming materials. You got a truck with some daisies. Then you got these big, beautiful sunflowers, and even got bikes. And then you got like a milk pail, and this one says home. But anyway, I thought these were perfect. As soon as I saw them, I was like, oh, I could make bookmarks, because I enjoy making bookmarks because I'm an avid reader. So that's one of the materials that we're going to be using today. And I already did some before I started the video. Of course, I made one already, but I'm going to show you how the process that I did to get to this point, and then we're going to go in and decorate one together. So anyway, I basically started out with a piece of cardstock, and on this cardstock, the back side, I already have some vintage music sheet that I'm going to be using. You can use tea-dye paper, you can use pattern paper to back this cardstock. You can do whatever you like. This project is very versatile. And so here's some of my vintage music paper I got from this. I've got a huge book, vintage book of it, that I picked up at a estate sale a few months back. And so I've been kind of just going through it, using it for journal pages, using it for tags, and making little charms out of it, all kinds of things. So having vintage paper that's already ready to go and it's already aged is already just wonderful in itself. So what I do, and don't mind my glue, but I always from Natasha at Treasure Books, I learned how to make a PVC glue solution. And so I generally use that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even have it out and ready to go. And of course I don't. So let me grab it really quick. You might hear a little bit of noise of me shuffling things around over here because I've got to grab it. I put it back in its container and didn't pull it back out. And of course, I keep mine in a pickle jar. I love pickles. And so why not recycle? I enjoy recycling and also different things like that. So mine I keep in a pickle jar. Most of you know how to make this solution. If you don't, it's what I did. I basically took a bottle of kid glue, school glue, the white kind. Took that and then mixed it with, I put the whole thing of glue in and then put half of the bottle of water and mix it in and just shook it up. And it works. It's been lasting me a long time. But of course, you can always add more to it. And let's see what kind of strength I have today to see if I can open it up. And there we go. All right, so basically what I do is take my paintbrush, any old ratty paintbrush that you want. This is my paintbrush of choice when I'm painting on glue to stick something down. And I feel like this gives it even coverage a little bit better than what you would get on with my glue stick that I normally use. But for something like this, I wanted to actually hold down a little bit better. So since this paper is bigger than that one and I don't want to get glue all over my table, which it's already got, this is my crafting table. It's already it's a vintage table. It's already kind of messy. So it really doesn't matter too much because I use it just for crafting. But since this paper is bigger than the cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and just paint a section of this. That way I don't have to go all the way to the edges. But you do want to make sure that you're getting the majority of it covered, because this does need to be glued down pretty well, because you don't want your project to fall apart later on down the line. So just make sure you're getting a generous amount of glue on here. So hopefully everybody is doing well. Today is Saturday for me, and my littlest one is not feeling well. She's coughing, which is always worrisome. Most of you parents out there understand what I'm saying, because like anytime your kid coughs or whatever, you're like, well, for me, I don't know about everybody else, but I always think the worst, and I'm like stressing. So making sure I'm watching her. I had to take off work early on Friday to come home because she was really bad on Friday. But now, keeping her fever in check and all that kind of good stuff. So we're just going to lay this down, making sure that we've got it on most of the glued section. We do have some glue there. I'm going to try to ignore this for this project because this is going to be set to the side to dry anyway. I'm just basically giving you an idea of what's going on. But I am going to actually have to turn that over to stamp it, show you how I stamped it. So let me go ahead and clean that up a little bit. All right. Now that we have that down, we can go get to our fabric. Now I found that with this fabric, the folds of it are perfect for this paper. Like, you'll see what I mean. Like if you take it out and you unfold it, it's got this one little fold here, but then that second fold fits perfectly right across this cardstock. I mean, of course, sometimes it will leave a little bit of edge, and you can always just cut that down, but I think that's a perfect size for a bookmark. So we're just going to cut it right along that fold, and we'll set that aside. I'm going to do that to all of the fabric, and I'll see if I can speed the video up while I do that. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to show you that I found that 5 of them will fit on here with about enough room for, like I said, 5 of them to fit on here comfortably, so that you can have room in between to cut them out. And I did this pattern this time instead of the black farmhouse one, because I want to be able to work on that one for later. And if you put them right, you get just enough. So I need to make sure I get these lined up to where there's going to be enough room for all of them. And there. So 5 fits perfectly. And I used my Elmer's glue. Let me go ahead and close up my PVC solution. And as I was saying, Natasha at Treasure Books, I watched one of her videos, and she's the one that taught me how to make the PVC solution, because I can't remember what she was doing. Oh, she was actually doing gluing, like printed tissue paper down on cardstock to make tags. And so I learned how from that video. Love Natasha's videos because she's always so, informative. She really makes sure that she tells you everything that you need to know. Okay. Also, problem solving. I tried gluing when I was making the other ones, gluing to the paper first, but without actual, the measurements. I was missing some of the edges. So with this, I decided I'm going to actually just glue the fabric, put the glue on the fabric itself, and then adhere it, flip it over, and then put it on the paper. Still going to be a little bit of, leeway on it, but trying to be as neat as possible and not get glue everywhere. You just have to kind of be, very easy with this section. Some of us are pros at glue. I don't think I'm a pro at glue. Some of you guys might. I always seem to get glue everywhere, all over my fingers, under my nails, and everywhere else you can imagine. But anyway, this is really like the most tedious part of this whole project, is making sure you have enough glue on it. All right, so we are going to take this. I hope that I'm in shot, and we're going to line this up. And I find if you line it to one end of your project, and that way you only have to really cut one end of it, then you saved yourself some time. So make sure it's completely lined up to the one edge, and then to the one edge over here. And then when you get ready to cut, you only have to cut this edge over here, the one edge that's, still has some space. And when you're doing this project, make sure you have, clean hands, because you don't want to leave stains on the fabric. And so again, I'm going to just repeat this up here, and I'm going to try to speed through this section too, so you don't have to sit there and watch me do every single one. Okay, and now we're back. I promise you guys, during that whole section, more than once I wanted to throw my glue bottle. I'm just going to be honest. That is like the most tedious thing. I don't know if it was because I was trying to glue it to the actual fabric and wasn't getting getting enough traction. But last night when I did it, I was actually putting the glue on the paper and I should have just stuck to my previous method because that was a pain. But anyway, this is what it looks like once you get through that tedious, hellish part of trying to glue the fabric, the putting glue on fabric. Take it from me, put your glue down on your paper first. That's a pro tip. Anyway, look at my fingers. See what I mean about it? I'm so messy. Glue gets everywhere. All right, give me a second to get that glue off my hand. I'm just going to take one of my other paint brushes and put some water on my hands and then go over it with a paper towel and try to clean some of this stuff off of my fingers before moving on so that we don't get nasties on our nice fabric. Oh my goodness. I'm actually just going to go wash my hands. Be right back. And I'm back. Glue-free hands. Oh my God, let me tell you, that glue is tough. Like tough. But anyway, so this is the point where we're at. Again, if you wanted to go ahead and stamp your back side first before you added your glue, that would be perfectly fine. Mine has got some residue from this table, from all of this inking and stuff that I've done, but this is just a tutorial, so it's not a really big deal. And for the sake of trying to keep this Dollar Tree related, I'm going to use some stamps that I got from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, they've been loved, but these are also from Crafter Square. Sometimes they have these really nice clear stamps. I've seen the butterflies and the butterflies and the flowers. Then I saw like some llama and a couple of others, but these are the ones that I liked. So that's what I got, and that's what I'm going to use for this project, since we're going to keep it, like I said, Dollar Tree. And I've also got some other ribbons and stuff that I got from the Dollar Tree. There might be a few things that didn't come from the Dollar Tree, but they'll be kept to a minimum, just so you know that you don't have to go out and buy a lot of things to make something cute. Although I do have a huge duffel bag basically full of rubber stamps that I hauled from a thrift store, nearby my house. I guess a crafter decided they didn't want to craft anymore, and I got hundreds, but I already had tons before that because every time I found one, I wanted to try to buy it. But anyway, we're going to be using black ink today, and we are going to, what I did on the other ones was butterflies and like insects. So I think on this one, I'm going to do birds and flowers just to kind of mix it up. And I'll show you what I did. And I promise you, after this, I'm going to have to probably get up and wash my hands again, because I guess I'm like the messy crafter. That should be my name, the messy crafter. Anyway, so we're going to do a combination of birds and flowers on this one, and these were from the Dollar Tree, from the crafters. I think most of these sold out because I just went to the Dollar Tree the other day and found some little things, and I was looking for more stamps, and I haven't seen these in a while. So I think the birds and the butterflies, the insects, I think those sold out pretty quickly, which I'm not really surprised because these are like super cute. So what I kind of do sometimes is I'll put more than one stamp, more than one stamp on a thing, just to kind of, hurry it along, but also it helps with the spacing, so it kind of all is like, even. But I don't do that on all of them, but I'm going to do it with these these three. And I think that's a cute little grouping of the bird, the flower. And it doesn't have to be all straight. It can be all willy-nilly. I'm going to try to cover up this little residue spot that got on my paper. And as I said, these are plate. Even if I decide to sell these or put them in a journal, I read a lot. So I can honestly keep that one for myself or give it as a gift. When you're crafting, mistakes happen, things happen, keep going. All right. See, like that, his poor little head is not all in there, but you know, it's going to be okay. And we're going to go through and fill in these gaps that I'm leaving with some of the other stamps. But this is just kind of the basis, just getting all of these down. And then now we're going to clean these off a bit. Oh, but I'm very terrible at cleaning my stamps. Is anybody else that way? I want to be like one of those people who cleans their stamps after every use, but I'd be lying if I said I was. Maybe you guys can encourage me to be better. Give me maybe a different, an easier way to go through and clean them. Can they be soaked? I don't know. I haven't really tried to soak anything, and because I don't know. I'm not too sure about this material, or if it will like shrink or that kind of stuff, and I don't want to take chances. All right, so with this one, actually, I don't think I'm going to do, let me see. I don't think I'm going to do too many with, do I want to do this flower or this flower? I already got one full bloom flower. So let's try this. Let's see how this goes. See what this looks like. And see where we can put it in. All right. And I think when you have them like going in all different directions, it gives contrast, and makes it look interesting. Okay, we can have that guy right there in that space. This is basically just kind of like making a master board, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen videos of people showing you how to make master boards. This is basically just a dumbed down version of that, because I'm not doing this to actually like make little tags or anything. Well, it is kind of like making tags since it's like bookmarks, but it's the same concept of doing a master board. All right. Oh, got those two kind of going in the same direction. Didn't really want to do that, but what's done is done, right? All right. Put this guy soaring towards the sky into freedom. And let's see. I think I'm going to change these out and try to get one more stamp in there to make it nice and full. Which guy should I use, guys? Let's see. I used the little guy on the branch. Oh, this little hummingbird one is very pretty. Let's try him. Well, everybody's flying. A lot of people are flying, so let's take this guy who looks like he's about to take flight. Maybe he's watching a little worm that he's about to go have for supper, or maybe lunch. Have you guys had dinner or supper? I have not had supper yet. I had lunch earlier, and that's it. Really, I'm not sure what I'm making for dinner tonight. And I think I might be able to get one more right there. Let's see. I absolutely love rubber stamps. And with this one, I don't have to go all the way to the top since I'm going to be cutting some of that off anyway. But let me try to get some little individual flowers in here. After a while, it's going to start to look crowded, so I don't want that. So I'm only going to put a couple more in there. But I do have some spots that could use something. Try to cover over that number. Perfect. Let's see. There's an empty spot. Oh. Like, well, it isn't. No. Sometimes you have to just not think too hard. You know what? I honestly think that that's a, well, let's see, right here. Could use a half a flower. And right there, can use a half a flower. Although, I hope that's the end. Great. That's perfect. That's the end. That's going to get cut off. Didn't plan that, but that's perfect. Okay. And I think that's going to do it. I think I'm going to leave it there with that, so we can move on to the next section. This is a very simple tutorial, but it does have, various steps in it. And let's go ahead and put those to the side. I'll put all of my things away once I'm done with the video. Okay, so this next part, how I did mine, I like to seal them so it gives it like a little bit of extra texture. Excuse me. And a little bit of shine. This step is completely unnecessary. You can stop here and start cutting up and decorating if you wish. But for mine, I'm going to actually Mod Podge it. That way I can set it to the side and it can be ready for me to work on later. This is a preference. You do not have to do this step. I repeat, you do not have to do this step. Let me just get this glue down really quickly. And I'm just using Mod Podge. They do have this kind of Mod Podge at the dollar store. I think I got this one from Walmart. But this one, they do have Mod Podge at the Dollar Tree as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get this. And I'm just going to brush it over evenly. Couldn't be any simpler to add this. Make sure you try to get it all the way to the edge. Whichever edge is the complete edge, you want to try to make sure you get it all the way to there. This edge over here, I know I'm going to be cutting. So, look at that. But as I said, this table has seen better days. I need to go through and actually de-glue it. Anyway, get some of my goof off or goo gone or whatever it's called and go over it and show it a little bit of love. I need to get a work mat. Actually, I do have some work mats. I bought some vintage plastic placemats. I really, where are those? They're in the car. So I'll go and get those later on today, but I really need to be putting those to use. I'm so forgetful sometimes, or I get busy with other things and I just don't think about it. All right, we're coming to the end of this part. Make sure you're getting that. All of the edge that's going to be actually connected to a bookmark. Anyway, it doesn't look uneven. It looks as professional as possible. All right, and that's it. I'm going to set that aside to glue. And now we get to do the fun part, decorating. Put that in there. Set this aside. To dry. I'm wiping this as if that's going to make it less messy, but hey. All right, so what we're gonna do, I pulled out things to actually decorate this one. So again, you can see this is what I did earlier with you guys, except I did just the birds this time. And so I just did the same thing. And then I Mod Podged it. And then gives it like that slick texture, kind of sealed in. It also, to me, makes the ink pop just a little bit. To me, it makes the ink stand out a little bit more. That's just my opinion. And as I said, that is completely unnecessary. So anyway, we're going to do this one. So I'm fixing to cut this one out. Got my big, bulky vintage scissors. And this is why I said leave space so it's easy to cut out. That way I can just go through here and detach it and then trim it back up. And I'll speed through this part. All right. All right, because this one is black and you can see these edges on here, I am going to actually go through and ink those edges with black. I was not planning on inking, so now I'm looking for my little tool, my little one with the black ink on it. So, oh, there we go. That took a little less time than I thought it might. So just going to go through and ink these edges to make it a little more cohesive. We don't want those white edges showing through. I'm just going to go through and at this point you could ink around there if you wanted to on the back side, but I'm not going to. Just going to worry about the front side. And even if it gets on the little white fabric a little bit, that's fine. Just gives it like a little smoky look. Oh, and I don't even know if I was on camera. So I'm just basically, like I said, inking around. All right, and so we got the basic shape of the bookmark. Now, what you can do at this point, if you want, you can cut these little edges, decide which one you want to be your up and which one you want to be your down. Looking on the back side, since these are mostly going, it seems like they're mostly going up that way, I'm going to let this be my top. And so you can decide, actually, let's see, looking at this, how do I want it this way though? I guess the back really, it's up to you, whichever way you want to orient your bookmark. I think I'm going to orient it going up this way. I don't know, to me, I don't know. I think I like it this way. So we're going to go do it this way. And so I've got a few things that I can use. I got this tape from the Dollar. Did I get this from the Dollar? I might have got this from the Dollar General. I'm not really sure. May have come from the Dollar General. Let's see. I think it came from the Dollar General. Well, at any rate, it's still like a dollar store, so I guess it'll be okay. So I cut a piece of this earlier. Actually, I had a piece already cut. And I think what I want to try to do, this one has a wired edge. This one has a wired edge too. So I think I like the red because I have this vintage This is one of the things that I did not get from the Dollar Tree. This is some vintage trim that I already had, but I thought that would look great. You're welcome to pull in all of your little bits and bobs that you have that don't, come from the Dollar Tree, because basically you're going to make this project your own when you actually make it. So it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. But I'm going to cut a little piece of this, and I think I'm going to glue it down there as our starter. And this fabric is perfect because it has a guideline. And we're just going to try to cut evenly down here. I'm not that great with cutting straight, so having this guideline is perfect. And I still, with the guideline, I'm not going to cut it 100% straight. That's just the way it goes. All right. All right. So we're going to have to try to cut this as close to this as possible. Go ahead and wrinkle it up first, I guess, to where you kind of want it to be, wrinkled. That way it kind of fits your piece. That way you kind of know what you want to do with it. I'm just going to kind of crinkle this. It doesn't have to be any particular way. It's just going to fit on your thing. Now here's a dilemma. Now, do I want it to go this way, or do I want it to go this way? Originally, I thought that I would put it with the red side out. And I think I'm going to have to leave it with the red side out, because although that ruffle that gives is really nice, although you don't have to glue it completely down. And I think that I'm not going to glue it completely down. So let's do it like this. Nice ruffle with this. And we're going to have the best of both worlds. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. Maybe glue it down like that. And then that way you can peekaboo and see the stuff, other stuff. Oh, I'm torn. Which way do I want it to go? What do you think? Like this? With the ruffle coming down like that? Yeah, that does look like an awning, doesn't it? Or like that.
Like the first one.
The first one. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Okay. And I think I'm going to go on this side with it. So here we go with my glue again, my struggle glue. And we are going to put a nice little line of glue right down here. Okay. And we're going to start. I'm just going to lay it here. Give that a minute to catch. Make sure to try to keep some of those ruffles in there. Don't want to flatten it out completely. Kind of be Well, guys, needless to say, this part didn't go quite as I planned. It would probably have done better if I had an actual sewing machine. That way I could have created the ruffles, but with the glue, it just was not happening. So as you'll see in this next part, I scrapped the entire idea and went another direction. Hmm. let's do this. Since we already have glue there, we're just gonna straighten this out. We're gonna actually cut this off. I don't think that ruffle effect is going to work that great with fabric without having a sewing machine. That's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So what I'm going to do, I think, is still have this on here, and we're going to go through with more glue. We're going to go through with more glue. Y'all don't laugh at me. We're going to go through with more glue. We're going to still leave that up. Still have that like a little flip through. We might be able to squinch it just a little bit. Let's see. No, I think, well, let's see. Oh, look at that. How about this? Put that there. And we're going to cut that part of the video. Okay. All right. Now that we have that glued down, you can go back with another thin layer of glue. And we're going to glue a piece of this rickrack down over it. Now, to dress the top of this up, what we are going to do, get a cheap piece of ribbon to make a topper. And we're going to glue this here like that. Okay. So I'm going to put some glue here on the front. Get that to stick. Make sure you got your good side out. Oh, let's do this like that. Stick like that. And at this point, if you want to, you can come here and staple. Staple this part because I'm going to be covering this over with something else. Staple this part down because in the back we're going to be gluing this down over it, so you won't be able to see that staple there. Give that a minute. Hey guys, oh my god, I am so sorry. I finished recording the video only to find out that my phone had died. Well, I say I finished recording, well, I finished crafting only to realize that my phone had died. So I just wanted to come back through and explain to, kind of walk through the steps that I took to complete this. So since I can't like actually, it's already done. But anyway, what I did, I think the last thing I showed before it died was me gluing the back of the lace to cover the area that had the staple where I stapled it. So anyway, I then anchored a red button to the bank to the back using some of this baker's twine that I also got from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of 3. This particular pack had solid red, this red and white one, and then a pink one. And so I anchored that through, and I let it go through the middle part of the leaf, because the leaf came off of a stem of flowers, so there's a hole in it. And then also I brought it through this little charm that I make. I'll show you some of the other little charms that I make if you guys like these and want to see a tutorial of how I did these. I'll make a video for that. But I think they're super cute. Basically, what I did was, take paper and Mod Podge with a stamp, and added like little buttons that are inset with rhinestones, and added eyelets so that you can like hang them from like your little gourd pins, to add them like to, as charms, or add them as tassels, or however you want to do that, like to tabs on your journals. So if you want to see how to make those, comment below and I'll get a video made for that. But with this one, I added this one, and then of course I tied it, and then I threaded this twine through pearls. Now I wanted to show you how I did that, because sometimes that can be a little tricky to get this thick twine through a little bitty hole in a pearl like that. And so here's the trick. It may not work on every single thing, but for the majority it will. Leave yourself a little tail, and then put the thread directly over the hole. I don't know if you can see that. And then just take the back end of a paper clip that you've opened and just push that through, and push until you can feel the thread going through. And just keep doing that until you can feel it going through. Eventually it'll start going through. Of course, because I'm on film, it wants to take its own little sweet time, but generally it doesn't take that long. And you keep pushing it through, and eventually you'll have it come out on the other side. And then you can take your tweezers and start to pull that through like that until you get it all through. And then you can tie it off or whatever, but then that's through. And that's just a quick way to put pearls or beads on that have a tiny little hole, and you want to put like a thicker thread or thicker material through them. So that's what I wanted to show you with that. But with this one, when this piece of fabric dried, I went ahead and pulled out some of the thread to give it like a little fringed edge there, just so that it could be like more 3D ish. And then thank God my glue dried clear, and you can trim up your edges, you can round the corners. I went through and rounded the corners on this. I don't know if you saw that before the video cut or not. And you can glue, like with this one, I haven't decided whether or not I want to glue that, or if I wanted to, continue to let it move around. I haven't decided that yet. But anyway, that's the end of this tutorial. I think that these came out really cute. There's so much that you can do with them. Like with this one, I added eyelash ribbon, and then of course another one of my little charms. And then I also added like some paper down here with a stamp, and then a little bit more eyelash trim and some lace. So there's so many things that you can do with them. You can leave the back like this. You can leave it plain. You don't have to stamp it. You don't have to Mod Podge it. You can make this project totally your own. And if you wanted to turn it into a belly band, you would simply, of course, cut it to shape. If you wanted to make it thin, you could take one of these and make 2 belly bands if you wanted a thin one. Or you could take a piece of lace and go down the middle and either stitch it at both sides or glue it or staple it and then add something over to cover your staple, and then glue the base part here and there, and then you have a double belly band. Of course, it would be able to go under there and then would also be able to go under here. So it would give you a double belly band. So you have options with this project. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope this inspired you or gave you some ideas on something that you can do for your next project, for a gift. The holidays will be here before you know it. So always people are always interested in getting little things that are personalized to them. You could write their name, whatever. If they like a certain book or like a certain color, then you do it. It doesn't even have to be this fabric that you get from the dollar store. It can be any fabric strips or like remnants that you find at like Hobby Lobby or Joann's or wherever. Make this project completely your own. But as always, I thank you guys for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a nice day, a nice evening, morning, noon, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching. It would be great if you guys let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because that would be fun. So I'll know what part of the world people are watching me from. But anyway, thank you guys. I know everybody's time is precious and I appreciate you sharing yours with me. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.